Good morning dear students and welcome to Genesis. In today's video we will start kingdom fungi. Well, when we talk about this kingdom, remember they are diverse. They show diversity not just in their body structure but also in the habitats where they are found. In fact, देखा गया है कि in comparison to plants and animals, kingdom fungi सबसे ज़्यादा widespread है. ये किसी भी habitat में survive कर पा रहे हैं. What could be the reason? Let us find out. Number one, they are eukaryotic. We know they are heterotrophic in nature. That means they cannot make their own food. They are spore producing. This is that feature जिसके कारण ये किसी भी habitat में survive कर रहे हैं. If the conditions are favorable for them, they anyways grow in those habitats. But अगर condition favorable नहीं है, they have a mechanism to overcome that. And वो mechanism है by spore formation. You already know that these are extremely resistant structures. इन structures को वो just air में release कर देते हैं. This flows with air or in water, whichever habitat they are surviving in, and they will wait for the right opportunities to come in. The moment right opportunity आता है, they grow. Apart from that, their body is thalloid-like. Thalloid means where the body is not differentiated into leaves, stem or root. याद रखना, we are talking about a kingdom which is almost sandwiched between kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. That means इस kingdom के पास कुछ characteristic feature plants की तरह हैं और कुछ characteristic feature animals की तरह हैं. The second important point is the body is haploid. That means जो structure इनका हमें दिखता है, it is haploid and is made up of thread-like structures which are called hyphae. ऐसे कुछ thread-like structures बनते हैं, उन्हें hyphae कहा जाता है. The network of hyphae is called mycelium. और जब ये सारे thread-like structure इकट्ठे एक जगह aggregation में रहते हैं, that is known as mycelium. Now, the hyphae, they are not similar in all the fungi. They vary. In some fungi we have found जो hyphae होते हैं, they are septate. That means इनमें partitions होते हैं. They are compartmentalized. Okay. Such are called septate hyphae. लेकिन अगर ऐसा कोई partition नहीं है, then it is a basic aggregation of cells. इसे aseptate hyphae कहते हैं. इसका और एक term भी है, इन्हें sinusitic hyphae के नाम से भी जाना जाता है. Please remember this term. Last is nutrition. Heterotrophic है, but what kind of heterotrophic nutrition they show? They show saprophytic mode of nutrition where they obtain nourishment from dead and decaying organisms. They show parasitic nutrition where they obtain nourishment from living host, and finally they show symbiotic relationship where they are obtaining nourishment from a host, but in return they also provide benefit to the host. इसके दो examples हमारे syllabus में हैं. One is lichen, which is an association between fungi and algae, और एक है mycorrhiza, which is the association between fungi and roots of plants. Now, the life cycle of the kingdom fungi is basically divided into two phases. एक phase which is known as the vegetative phase, another is the reproductive phase. Usually, जो vegetative phase है, it is very very small in size and not that conspicuous. Whereas the reproductive phase, ये हमें तभी भी कुछ दिखता है. You know, these structures are big enough to be seen. Next to this is the cell wall. We know the cell wall of fungi that's made up of chitin. This is one characteristic feature जो fungi का plant के साथ काफी common है. But there is a difference. The cell wall is not made up of cellulose. It is made up of chitin, and chitin is a polysaccharide. So अगर ये एक polysaccharide है, इसका मतलब it is made by repetition of one unit. The name of that unit जिसके repetition से ये chitin बनता है, it is acetyl glucosamine. Next is the examples which are given in our syllabus. हमारे syllabus में introduction में जो examples दिए हैं, they are mushroom. This is one edible form we know. There are toadstools. This is yeast, which is one example of unicellular fungi. Then we have Puccinia. ये disease cause करता है wheat में, जिसे कहा जाता है wheat rust. And then penicillium. We know इससे हमें penicillin antibiotic मिलता है. Then is the reproduction. Reproduction also, fungi में there are three different ways by which they can reproduce. So they can reproduce vegetatively, they can reproduce asexually, they can also reproduce sexually. Now we have come to a very important part of the chapter, which is the mode of reproduction shown by kingdom fungi. See, they show vegetative, asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. Now let us understand vegetative mode of reproduction में reproduce करते कैसे हैं. They can reproduce by basic fragmentation, where the body will divide into fragments and each of these fragments will grow into a new structure or a new body. Then it's fission. Again, in this the cell will divide into two cells, and third, budding, where from one cell a bud will come out and that bud will then detach from the main body and grow into an independent structure. अब आते हैं asexual mode of reproduction. See, asexual mode of reproduction में they will produce spores, and to produce spores they undergo mitotic division. That means the number of chromosome will remain same in the spore as well as in the parental body. बहुत सारे different kinds of spore ये produce करते हैं. We are going to study about 5 types here. सबसे पहला type zoospores. The name zoo only tells you that they are animal-like spores. Why? Because they can move. They have locomotory appendages like flagella. So ये motile है, and what are they? They are endogenous in nature. See, spores दो तरह के हो सकते हैं. They can be exogenous and they can be endogenous. If the spores are initially contained in a bag and then when the bag ruptures the spores are released, then such spores are called endogenous spores. And इस structure को कहा जाता है sporangium, the bag where the spores are present. तो spores यहाँ इकट्ठा होते रहते हैं. जब favorable condition आता है, the sporangium bursts open and the spores are released in the nature. The another type is known as exogenous spore. यहाँ कोई bag like structure नहीं होता. The spore is just present naked on top of a structure, on a stalk. The spore is present on a stalk. So ये रहा spore and this is the stalk on which the spore is present. There is no bag. So जब हम spores के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, हमें दो चीजें जानने होंगे. Number one, whether they are motile or they are non-motile, and number two, whether they are exogenous kind of spores or endogenous kind of spores. So zoospores, they are motile and they are endogenous. That means they remain within a bag. The next type is sporangiospores. Sporangiospores are non-motile. Zoospores are motile, they are non-motile, but they are also endospores. The third category, Conidia. Conidia are non-motile, but they are exogenous in nature. Fourth category, chlamydospores. Chlamydospores are motile, but they are exogenous in nature. And the last one is Oidea. They are non-motile and they are also exogenous in nature. So we discussed 5 different kind of spores, asexual spores, which are produced after mitotic division, and we know कि इनमें से कुछ motile हैं, कुछ non-motile, कुछ endogenous in nature है and कुछ exogenous in nature. Understand sexual reproduction in kingdom fungi. See, sexual reproduction happens in 3 steps. The first step is called plasmogamy, the second one is karyogamy, and third step is general meiosis. So in case of plasmogamy, the haploid hyphae, they come close to each other and they fuse. This is the only thing which is happening during plasmogamy. So this is plasmogamy, where the hyphae will come close to each other and now they will fuse. So when they fuse, there are 2 situations that can arise. In the first condition, when they will fuse, they will form 2N structure. So imagine this is the condition where they have formed the 2 nuclei fused and formed the nuclei which is 2N, diploid condition. The other condition is where they will fuse, but the nuclei will not fuse or will not stay in 2N condition, but in N plus N condition. This is N plus N condition. Such a condition where the nuclei do not fuse to form 2N or a diploid nucleus, instead they remain together within the same boundary as N plus N. This is known as dikaryon. And the phase is called dikaryon phase. Now what will happen after this? After this, definitely they are going to fuse and form a diploid structure, and this diploid structure will undergo a process of meiosis. But inside certain structures which are known as fruiting bodies. So within the fruiting body, the diploid nucleus will now undergo meiosis to produce haploid structures, which will then undergo mitosis to increase in number. So now this fruiting body is filled up with haploid spores. So we finished the first stage, plasmogamy, where the two haploid hyphae will come close to fuse. The second stage can be a direct formation of a diploid zygote or a nucleus, you can say, which is 2M, or it can be a stage where the nucleus will stay together but will not fuse. It is called a dikaryon condition, and the phase is called dikaryon phase. Third, after this will be the meiosis, where this diploid nucleus will undergo meiosis to form haploid structures, and to increase their number, these haploid structure will undergo mitosis. But all of this will happen inside a structure which is known as the fruiting body. And soon the fruiting body is going to be filled up with sexual spores. Three types of sexual spores are oospores, ascospores and basidiospores. So we understood the method of sexual reproduction in case of kingdom fungi, followed by three steps: plasmogamy, karyogamy and meiosis. And this meiosis produces the type of asexual spores, which are oospores, ascospores and basidiospores. Now, on the basis of the morphology of the mycelium, whether they are septate mycelium or aseptate mycelium, then the type in which the spores are produced, that means they are produced by mitosis or meiosis, and third, the type of fruiting body. On the basis of these three parameters, we are going to classify the kingdom fungi. We will do that in my next class. Till then, keep revising. Do not forget to post your doubt and share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.